Good morning. Welcome to our Budget Finance Committee meeting. It's May 26th, 10:08 a.m. I want to call the meeting to order. Mr. Booth, will you give us an invocation?
You all join in prayer. Dear Lord, we just thank you for bringing everyone together today. Lord, we thank you for yesterday and being in a country where we can celebrate and remember those in our services, military services, who gave the last full measure, and that you continue to watch over this country and provide heroes like they were. Lord, as we move forward today, we just ask for your presence and guidance as we look through the budget of this city for this year and the next. Lord, it's in your name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Give us a roll call, Mr. Booth.
Yes, ma'am. So, Mayor Rodenroth
Here.
and Councilman Lewandowski.
Here.
Madam Mayor, you've got one, I think.
Yeah, we're it. Any public comments?
And then we do not have any members of the public with us and no registered written comments today.
Okay, great. All right, consent agenda. Mr. Dan, have you been able to look at anything on this yet?
Yes. Let me see here. I did make a couple of notes, but I think they were just for my own benefit. I don't think there was any suggested changes. Let me just double check. Let's see here. Yeah, I had no recommended changes.
All right. Great.
Yeah, I recommend we approve as written.
Okay, great. All good. I do too. Thank you. All right, next is our action items, and this is the April 2026 budget documents for all accounts. And he gave us this nice, so that's the general fund.
Nice stack of documents, Madam Mayor.
Mhm.
I would just give a quick overall summary. I think the city with the amended budget is in very good shape. If you look at total income for just this past, the month of April, it was $112,300. Total expenses was under that at 103,231. So you're looking at a net income of just over $9,000. It's $9,078. If you look at the year, total income for the year is $1,055,538. Total expenses for the year, well below that, $869,249, for a net income of $186,289. So just overall, for the general fund, in good shape.
You have any questions for me?
No. I agree with the city manager. We did they did a great job getting the budget amendment and all that.
We appreciate that.
And so it's showing up, makes things easy now.
Yep.
We've done our homework, we've done our priority.
Yep.
Other broader comments, just real quick, we continue to clean up the balance sheets that are not exactly where we want them. In many areas, we have managed to clear off carry forward, which was causing double counts, so not in all of them. And we're also working with our CPA, though we didn't get a lot of forward movement on the last one, to go into all these historical items that are in there that just show obligations that probably likely are not valid anymore. But it's a matter of a lot of reviewing the documents, figuring out what the history is and why, and making sure that in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, that we get them cleaned up. So I think it's just going to continue to take us a while, but we're making good progress each month.
Great.
And then Though I can hit any of the sub funds if you would like to talk about them, or just hit them as if you have any questions on them. Sorry.
No, I'd like to focus on next year's budget, and so we're good as well.
Okay, the next thing here is assets over $5,000 in that spreadsheet.
We did re-include, because we talked last month that we wanted, since we didn't have time, we were going to potentially talk about it this month. I included the same spreadsheet. I'd love to say we made more progress on that, but we haven't. As just to remind everybody, we were trying to figure out, we've been talking about all our assets over 5,000, make sure we have them, and at $5,000 in value, making sure we have them inventoried and tracked. We found various versions, but what we think the authoritative version was held by our auditors, which was a spreadsheet that they gave us, and what we still need to do is do the cross comparison of what we actually have on the ground to what the auditors have been tracking year to year, and just do a verification and continue to coordinate with the auditors if we think there's changes that need to be made in that document to make sure that it doesn't violate any accounting principles, but also for us to have a valid document to track all our assets over $5,000 moving forward.
Right. And I think it's really important to have that list. And it certainly has gone beyond where we were before.
Yeah.
We've got a list, right?
Yeah,
And got something to compare it to. But once we can get all the correct information, be able to look at, project when we need to replace those items and put a number to it, a potential number, just so we kind of know that could be coming up. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Either for a new piece of instrument, I say instrument because it's what I did for so many years, but a replacement, or maybe what maintenance contracts are going to cost, things like that, to consider what makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it helps, so try to be as preventive as you can be with no surprises, right? The broken air conditioner that you didn't count on. So, I think it's a good place to, once we get that together, kind of give us a better idea too, and we can put the number to that.
So I'm going to suggest that we again push this off to the next meeting.
Yeah, that's fine.
For a couple of reasons, but one is I must have missed it, but it wasn't in my packet, so I didn't get a second look at it. But you gave it to us last month, so I do have it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in this month's packet. And then what I would ask the staff to do, if you're okay with this, is to look at all those things that are supposedly past their useful lifespan. All the things that are supposedly completely depreciated.
Yeah.
And then, in the
Start
staff's opinion, rank order those. Yeah, maybe some of those things are still in really good shape and we don't need to replace them. But I would guess there's some of those things we probably should replace. But we need their help
Yeah.
to rank order that. And then we can say, well, this is how much we have in the budget, and this is what we agreed to, and that street cleaner, street sweeper thing we never use, so why would we buy a new one? Or maybe we really should have one of those.
So that street sweeper, at first I thought it belonged to Stark,
There's a lot of stories.
there's a lot of stories on that thing. And then apparently he never had it, they never had it. So we don't know who it belongs to.
I believe it's the city's,
It is.
but it's not operational.
Yeah.
It's for my perspective. Once we get a good list of what we need to access,
Yeah,
we just need to access.
because once we decide to do something with that space down there, hopefully at some point. So Craig Kuhn has a good resource for that kind of thing. They had somebody buy the fuel truck can, and they buy either for the metal or whatever. But he looked around and found someone to take that fuel truck that was not being used at the airport last year, I think. So, yeah, I'd say just get rid of it and resell it or whatever, put it toward whatever.
And there's, I suspect, as part of Clay County's, I'm forgetting the term, but there's a stormwater protection law that's out there at the national level. The county has got to street sweep a lot of their curbed areas to make sure that water flowing through the stormwater system is not carrying contaminants with it.
Oh, okay.
And so I suspect either the city was
using that to meet its requirement. I'm already in discussions with Clay County to see if they have the capacity. They're already out with their newly procured street sweeper in the area several times during the year to see if they've got the capacity to come through and do Highway 121 where we're curved, just to see if they've got the capacity and what it would cost. I think it makes more sense for us to work with them
Yeah, because that's
than
gotta
to
be
try
kind of
and procure
expensive
an
asset
asset.
just to have kind of, you know, if we had to use it all the time, it'd be different, but
Yes, ma'am.
it's not like we're in a big area for that. Okay.
We had a parking storage 10 years ago when I was on council.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Put that thing in neutral, it may not move. So we'll see.
Alrighty. Okay, the next is the 2026-27 draft budget that you have printed here for us. You got here and highlighted several things.
Yes, ma'am. I'll just jump in here real quick. And so all I did was take I took the mid-year budget, so you can see the document looks very similar to our mid-year. And so the mid-year column will be, the closest column to the notes on the right-hand side is the draft budget for 26 to 27. And and then next to that would be the mid-year. So just to the left of that is the mid-year 25-26. And then when I did the analysis, if it's, once again, same color scheme, if it's to the city's benefit, it's shown in green. If it's to the city's deficit, it's in red.
First of all, I love the layout. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's
No,
like your
it's so
eyes just go right to capture so much, and I know this took a lot of work because I don't think it was the documents you had before. I mean, it's had to take a ton of work to be able to get this together.
It's a balancing act between QuickBooks and then just keeping keeping a separate Excel spreadsheet and making sure that Tiffany does a great job of keeping the documents balanced.
And the notes on the side, it helps so much to kind of understand what's going on there.
If you would look, I would just say broadly in this one, this is really my first brush at the budget. Income looks about similar to what it was this past year at $1,574,251. So let's just call it 1.5 million. Expenses are $1,744,500. So 1,075,000. And so that is a deficit to the city of $170,000 or about 11%. That's the first brush going through it. When you look at significant changes, and we can go individual, Councilman Lewandowski, I would just talk, we can go individually line by line here in a sec, but broadly the differences I think are probably 50,000 of that is things that we were able to coordinate with other agencies, missed payments, the waste management, $20,000 that they were charging us that we back paid. We had a $20,000 payment from the Department of Transportation from 2023 that they paid us, so that showed as income for the city this year. And so that's 40,000 of it right there. And there were quite a few others where we found the city was due income and it came in, but it had in the current budget year mitigated a lot of our expenses. The other change that drives this is I went into the labor across the city and calculated a 3% cost of living adjustment for all our labor. And then I built, which hadn't been in the budget before, a 2%, let's just call it performance, performance fund that will allow for performance increases in pay. So a total of about 5% of cost of labor increase. 3% of that, again, just a rough estimate of what typically happens in cost of living adjustments. And so that is another increase in cost that's not necessarily mitigated by income. So those are the two broad categories. I did not go and knock out draft budgets for the subordinate funds for infrastructure, CRA, for the cemetery. Because I knew we probably just needed to focus. All I had time to do was get this one built. And so,
you're a busy man.
Work on the general fund for this rest. So I'll stop talking and answer questions.
So I appreciate discussion of some generic topics, because I think that helps form the basis for our detailed discussions. So, for example, one of the notes that I have is I think we should have a millage discussion. And then how we feel like our strategic plan is being met or not met under the current budget. And so that's something with you and with our city manager, I think we should have a discussion about. And then that can help the details of this and our infrastructure and our CRA and those kinds of things.
Because you all probably, I think you want to get on the strategic plan and attach potential dollars to the particular items on the goals. You know, like the sidewalks, the mural, you know, things that we had on the Chautauqua, things we had on the list. I think there's a total of 8 goals out of the 4 buckets. Each bucket had 2 goals, and then beyond that, there's individual things lined up that we took from the previous comp plan. And I think we went ahead and added potential dollars to accomplish those goals. I think that's something to look at to make it more realistic, and whether or not it was doable or not, if I remember.
Well, yes, ma'am. If it required budget activity,
Yeah.
we built them into the various
Yeah.
funds in the budget. So
Yeah.
a good example, in the general fund, we increased the Heritage Commission's allocation from, I want to say, about $5,000 to $7,000. As an example, of this current year's budget, and where a lot of the funding and activity occurs to get after the strategic plan really was in the CRA and the infrastructure accounts. When you really talk projects, that's where the big dollars were allocated out for mural or all the other various projects. But you are correct, though it wasn't built into the strategic plan document.
Okay.
It was built into the budget.
Okay.
Right, but I think what you're getting at, and kind of what I'm getting at too, is a really good idea. That when we present next year's budget to the full council, we tie it to the strategic plan. And we say, under this goal of the strategic plan, this is what we accomplished. All right, so we already talked about what
Monetize
we
that
did.
now.
Yep, and we spent, this much money toward whatever it was. And then for next year, under this part of the strategic plan, this is what we are recommending we do. Now, not everything has to be tied to the strategic plan, but that should be priority. That should be more important. And that makes more work for you guys, because you gotta make those connections and you gotta put it together in one nice, neat package. But that makes it really easy for the 5 of us up on the dais to say, we're moving in the right direction,
Right.
we're putting our resources after our strategic plan, blah, 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 blah. And so, when you have that CRA next year, you have the infrastructure budget for next year, and I don't, it may not be June, it may be till July till we can do this, but I really, really would like you to do that. Put it in a package and say, okay, here's how it goes. Now, there may be other things that we want, okay? And on the last 2 years, I have pushed for a rollback millage rate. 3 years ago, we were at 4.25%. And 2 years ago, we were at
3.87.
Tiffany's gonna remember the number on it.
3.8 something.
Something like
And
that.
last year, we were at 3.2 something.
Yeah, we did, so it's
That was
not
the,
neutral to the year
I
before.
think we ended at 3.6. I could look.
Yeah.
Well, we got the idea, okay? And so the idea was, for the last 3 years, the citizens of Keystone Heights have paid the exact same dollar amount in taxes because the millage rate went down while their property values went up.
Right.
Now, it doesn't always work exactly because some houses' value go up more than others do, but on average, that's what happened. I pushed for that in the council. I think it's been 3-2 votes every time. It's been really close. But I'm now comfortable that we have a good budget, we have a good plan. Before, we were just collecting money with no plan
Yeah,
about what we're gonna do with it.
right.
And I think Councilman Knight, I love what he's doing with the septic to sewer conversion. and I think we're gonna be, try to get rolling on that. And so, my opinion, I don't know where you stand, Mayor, but my opinion is that I'm willing to hold the millage rate this time, which means an increase in income, because property values have gone up, and not do the rollback rate.
Yeah, I think the only reason I had, I voted against, the increase that would be shared with us through the county was I always feel like if you ever have to go back, if we roll it back, and then we got to increase beyond what we were before, always increasing is a negative. It's just a negative connotation to the public. So I think the fact that we rolled it back and the pitch was that we're keeping it cost neutral. We know a lot of things are going on, especially right now with, groceries, gas, these things that people live off of that are so important in their day to day. It's just one little way for us, and if we could afford to do it that way, I'm proud to say we can do that. When it comes to matching things up, I think you're kind of already doing that because, we just want to see it in a different way, like you're saying, Dan. So to me, the strategic plan is what it is. We know what we're spending on those things on the strategic plan because you give us a weekly report on every single thing you have done that week. Just like the sidewalks. We're a little less money because of the area or whatever. Now you want to take that remainder of the money that was identified to say continue on with Nightingale if you decide to do that. So we already have dollars attached to projects, dollars attached to the tennis court, check. We know that that was in the strategic plan. So I think we've already got a lot of this stuff going on. It's just a matter of putting it together and matching it up, like you said, in a visual kind of thing. Like in the strategic plan, this is how much money total approximately we spent on these items so far. And this is about what we think we're going to spend for the remainder of those items, right? So it kind of brings it all together in one circle, because there is things on there about infrastructure and all those things. And I think it gives us, as a whole, like Dan and I are looking at it at such a micro level perspective, but give the rest of the council, just confidence to know that, now I see we got so much of our budget or operating expenses, whatever, so much goes into expenses, operations, you got that number, strategic plan has this number, right? And then we're still at this mill rate, which still makes us a very attractive place to be, right? The biggest unknown that we have right now is this whole property tax thing, which I hear is now bubbling back up again. And I don't know where that's gonna go. It's been tabled, but now I'm hearing there's some background noise going on, or, maybe can't look at.
I thought it was killed May 6th.
No,
May 6th.
I'm hearing that it's being brought back up again. Who was telling me that last
There's
week?
been discussion about them going back into session in
DeSantis
July.
is pushing it.
I'll get some more information at the conference this week. I'm going to the Florida City County Managers Association conference, and I'm sure I'll have an update for y'all from what's being talked about there.
Right. So that's the only unknown we have. But to me, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because to me, it's like we don't really, it's a lot of work to figure out what you're going to do if you don't have those funds. And I don't want to do anything till we hear this is definitely going to happen. I see these other cities spend all this time taking your staff, chasing their tail everywhere, and it may be for naught.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and every
It's gonna
indication I
happen.
have is for naught.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's just in the last week that we've been hearing. Who was I with? I'm trying to remember now. There
Well,
was
from
somebody
what I
that-
hear, the
I
state
think it was at
senators,
I'm sorry.
the state senators, there's no way they're gonna do this, anything.
Yeah, I was just hearing that they're getting some pressure too.
Well,
I want to say
maybe they're-
it might have been.
It was the update at the League of Cities dinner. The gentleman from Florida League of Cities stepped up. I think he gave us some
I
summary.
think he made a comment about it, and then I think Aaron Bean brought it up too, remember that thing from him. So, whoever it was, but there's been a couple of people that made comments about it. So yeah, and I heard what you heard too, but just in the recent week, and I want to say it might have been the League of Cities dinner, when we were there.
And the House of Representatives, tell us, has definitely worked it and definitely passed that.
Yeah.
But once it gets to the Senate,
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
heard it
God.
was like it was totally tabled.
it's a paperweight.
And Betsy might know too, we're an update on it, so.
One thing that in the legislature last year, they passed another task for municipalities. So we'll build our budget, We have a new legislative requirement to build a budget with a 10% reduction and have a public meeting about that. And so, though it is certainly more work, the one thing that budget will effectively show, because effectively if we lost all our income from the property tax, homesteaded property tax income, it's about 10% of our budget. So because of the statutory requirement to do a 10% reduction drill, that budget will effectively address if
It's
it
really
did happen.
minuscule for us.
Yeah, and that's another thing is that, it's a misnomer to say all property tax is gonna go away. That's not what's gonna happen.
That is not what's gonna happen.
Not even close.
Yeah.
And so I agree totally with what you just said about spinning your wheels and
Oh
wasting
my God,
time.
staff labor,
and-
oh my God.
Yeah,
There's just no way.
right. So even if it does happen, this is the other one.
We'll figure it out.
Yep. And
At least
so-
we're confident for where we are, and we'll figure it out if it happens.
Right, so I saw that on the agenda and I thought about it. Let's not waste any time at this meeting.
Yes, I agree.
We'll talk about it. You know, if something dramatic happens, then we'll do it. But what I am trying to bring up with, at least with this discussion, is that I appreciate what you did, Jamie, and I would have done the same exact thing in your shoes. You made the projected budget for this fiscal year for property taxes the same as last year, because you figured we'd probably roll back again, okay? And, I think that, we had a huge, we went through, we went through all the numbers about how much the standard surplus is that you should have. You should be able to cover, 6 months of every expense. We had way above that amount. And so that was another reason why I said we do not need to keep the taxes this high. Now our citizens, if anybody's out there listening, you still receive property tax increases because of schools, you still receive property tax increases because of the county, you still receive other property tax increases, but not from the city of Keystone Heights.
Right.
So, to say that our citizens did not have property taxes go up last year is not true. They did have property taxes go up, but not because of the city. Well, I think it's time. We've seen our huge surplus come down. We've spent more than we built or than we got because of all the infrastructure and China Chef and all that other stuff that we've done, the new tennis courts. So I would recommend, if you're okay with it, Madam Mayor, that we do a constant millage rate from last year to this year, and have our city manager build the budget based upon that increase or expected increase. And the advantage of this is, again, we still don't have to go into the details because those are not required by
So it's
the
like a
state.
worst case scenario. When you think about if you're gonna add the
That sounds
increase.
a little negative. I just say it's good planning. We're just,
Yeah,
as the changes occur
I
in
mean,
the
I'd rather
city.
be overestimated than under, to some degree.
Yeah, and we have the strategic plan to guide us, and we have projects that we want to get done,
Right.
and the citizens are happy with what we're doing.
Yep.
I mean, the culvert under Nightingale, right there, that's way more money than I thought that was.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But it had to be done.
Yes, and so we have worthwhile projects, and we can really use the money, and our huge surplus is no longer so huge. So there's good logic all the way around here. But what I was trying to get to next is that we have a legal requirement to publish proposed maximum millage rates by a certain date, 1st of August, and we have to then vote on that. So there's legal state requirements regarding our millage rates. And so let's nail that down, and then that will help us drive the other numbers below it.
When did they release that? The proposed millage rates, when they put them out, the estimated?
The first time we as a municipality will have to announce it will be when y'all make the decision at the end of July, and we will lock in the system. the maximum millage rate.
Okay.
The highest that we will be able to charge citizens.
Okay.
And then you'll still have the August and September meetings where you decide on what the actual implemented millage rate
Yeah, because
will be.
once you walk in, you can't go above it.
You can't go higher.
But you couldn't go under it. Yeah.
And so if we can have that done in June, that way the council can vote at our July meeting, then we're all set, we don't have to meet again. You know, so it really means that next month, we need to decide what we're gonna recommend to the council for the July council meeting.
When is the council meeting for June? Is it the second?
June 1st,
Oh, June, okay, good.
next
That's what I
Monday,
thought, okay.
Yeah.
or this coming Monday, excuse me.
Okay.
But so we're talking about, we would make the decision in the budget and finance for what we want to recommend to the city council meeting on, I think it's the 11th of July.
July 11th, well, no, it's
Something like
Yes.
13th,
that.
13th.
Right.
That way we don't have to meet again.
Right.
And normally we do 3 or 4 different millage rates.
Correct.
We do the rollback rate, we do the current rate, we do some kind of increased rate, and we do some kind of decreased rate. So that's below the rollback rate.
Mhm.
Now, it's a lot of work for them to do all of those. That's why if we can make it 3, that'll help reduce their workload.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So if you're okay with that, we'll just do the rollback rate, the current rate, and then some increased rate, those 3.
Okay.
My-
And just whatever that dollar amount looks, demonstrating those.
Yeah, so instead of having $360,000, $830 in property taxes from the residents and businesses here paying their property tax inside the city limits, that would be the number if we chose the rollback rate, the lowest possible.
Right.
And the other numbers will actually increase that.
Current will be probably, if we held the current rate, if I remember last year, it was $30,000 to $40,000 more if you held the current rate. I'd imagine it's gonna be similar. And, what I can do, Councilman Lewandowski and Mayor, for the increased rate, what I'll do is I'll keep working the general fund budget, and then what unless you give me other guidance, I think the rate that I'll pick would be to balance the budget at that point. So what rate would we need to get to 0 draw on our reserves?
Right, that makes sense.
And,
I agree.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so that's good. I appreciate how much work this is, especially, I want to applaud, like the mayor said, all of your notes. Because I know the way I work, I forget things.
I do too, and I like the, I use a lot of color coding when I work, just because it draws my eyes to focus on things that need to stand out. But it's a level of detail, and I don't know how we could ask for much more than that.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's easy to read.
But of
So
course,
thank you.
I want the same for the CRA, and I want the same for infrastructure, and I want the same for the cemetery. So, what I would say is that, right now, I don't think we can change much on this, but, I'm gonna compare this to a strategic plan.
Yeah.
And that I have not had a chance to do that yet. And some of it will come out of one of the other 3 budgets.
That's correct.
It won't come out of this budget.
Yeah, so it might be that on the strategic plan, to make it better, because sometimes I don't know where that fund comes out of either, you know? Because of the nature of what the project is how do we identify, just, we have the 4 buckets, and there's 2 goals per bucket. So the 2 goals, which is 8 goals, I just shared this with Quantas, so familiar with it. And so with each of one of those individual goals, maybe what budget that comes out of, right? To keep it simple, because then it can kind of filter on down to the minutiae of all the other stuff. I think that'll help too, to kind of identify just a real snapshot of 8 bams. It came out of infrastructure budget, came out of general fund, came out of cemetery, whatever. And then that way we can connect it to the spreadsheet, like you said.
And, again, big picture things, I'm gonna divide up the budget into 2 big categories. One category is what I'll call non-discretionary spending, which is the heating bill, the electricity bill,
The have-tos.
Right, the pay, the
Pay.
benefits, you know, these are, I don't wanna say fixed costs, because they're not, they're gonna change. But these are the things that we're gonna do no matter what.
Keep our doors open.
We're gonna pay these costs. And then the rest is what I'll call discretionary funding, okay? And this is, all right, are we gonna redo the tennis courts? Yes, okay, that's discretionary. Are we going to, buy, some property for parking? Yes, that's discretionary. Are we going to refurbish something for a museum? Okay, that's discretionary. You got the idea, okay? And so, well, how much discretionary money do we have? And then where are we planning to put that? And I've asked the council members once before, last meeting or meeting before, and I'm gonna ask them again here in a week. Now is the time to give us any, for lack of a better term, pet projects. Anything you really want to see happen in the city. And I kinda hope every single one of the 5 of us has at least one project. Now that doesn't mean we're gonna spend money on it, but I would like to see it in the budget and talked about, so that all members of this council feel like they have an input, and if they have a priority, if they campaigned on something, that they can say, you know, I at least tried, if not succeeded in what I campaigned on.
So in that ask, I agree with that completely, is that they come prepared with their research and they've identified a dollar amount to make that project approved.
That's even better.
So
That helps the staff.
That help, and so they come, so, and the other part of that is to sell counsel on, that you've researched it, you have an idea of the cost, you've done your due diligence to say, hey guys, what do y'all think? And that we all come together to agree or disagree. Because there's been no research done on it, you're just speaking off the cuff. I don't think that's fair to any of you guys. You know, we need to do our part. I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, as y'all know, I'm interested in a skate park for the kids. And I've already started talking to people about it. I've already researched cost. I've already looked at other locations and how they do it, how they manage the insurance for the city. All those pieces, to me, are important. Then we have to figure out, okay, where and how much do we think where do we find the money? Whether or not we get to do it or not, but at least it's something we're talking about. And I will get the public involved in it, because I've heard it over and over again since I've been even living here. So I want to, I've already got some people gonna reach and connect, and he's actually gonna get a petition signed to show the people's interest. But that's the research I think we need to do if we have something we really want, that we care about. And we just hope that maybe we can do it or not, but we won't know until we talk about it like that, right? Don't just come and say, well, I just wanna do this here, or
Right,
I'm not looking at anything.
Yeah, oh, no,
Right?
you're absolutely right.
So,
Absolutely.
you know.
I mean, I would tell my people who work for me, you know, don't just come to me with a problem.
Yeah.
Bring me a solution too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you're saying your way. But I'm shaking my head up here because, we had a $35,000 grant 10 years ago to build.
Actually, it was 50. What I did when I looked at that's what you found, and I think, Jamie, whatever you checked into it.
Well,
It was around 50, I thought.
So through news
It
articles,
was
if
somewhere
that's,
around there. Yeah, you're
Well,
right.
for some reason, I recall we had to give back to the state $35,000
Oh, I don't know.
because we didn't use it. And so there is for more than a decade, the community has wanted that.
Right.
And I remember sitting next to Councilman Brian Wilson, and he's the one who's like, we need our youth to do stuff.
Mhm.
And he pushed for it, and
Right.
we messed it up. So I'm glad to hear that, and hopefully this time we'll do much better. than how we
I just
messed
feel
up.
like there's a void there for that age group, finding something for them to stay busy with. So, you know, but that's an example, you know, I think,
Oh, yeah.
and I think each one
Yeah.
of us could come up with something that was big or small, you know, that we might want.
That makes me think about maybe even passing out a short format, a short outline.
Oh, for them to come prepared.
Yeah, so
That's a
on
good idea.
Monday, let me ask maybe Tiffany, what would be helpful from the staff members if they submit an idea, like I'm probably gonna submit Christmas market stalls. I think you might have heard that before.
Yeah, many times.
You know, what would be helpful for you budgeting wise, for me to put on that form?
Right. Well, I think it's gotta be something like, okay, here's the concept. Who's the audience, right? Citizens.
Obviously, the amount is really important.
Right. How long is this available throughout the year? Is it through the year or whatever? Is it monthly, weekly, once a year, whatever? And, how many, potentially where you would go with it. And cost. Like I looked up the deal with the park and, minimal size for a small town is around 3,000 square feet, 3,000 foot bowl, which costs between $100,000 and $150,000 without the engineering. That's without knowing where you're gonna put it either. So, you know, just, cause it's easy to research that. Just like you said, some data points. And just keep it simple. 5 bullets and it's just a concept.
I just wrote what you said.
Thank you.
I'm copying you.
Make that form and they can.
Okay.
So I don't know,
I'll get you
too
this.
soon next week.
I would add, I think there's two thoughts I have is, are there any grants out there available
Right, seek out.
for this
seek
type
out.
of whatever the project activity is?
Yeah.
And then, not just how much it costs, because as we're doing, this would be a budget we're budgeting for the next fiscal year.
Mhm.
What is reasonable to get done in the next fiscal year? You know, of the total project cost, how much is reasonable to actually get done in a year?
Right.
Does this thing need to be designed in a year?
Yeah.
And then we're doing construction funds?
Right.
So,
What's it
see what I'm
gonna
getting at,
require?
Councilman Dustin?
Yeah, what's it gonna require?
Right. Well,
Yeah, I think I put down for cost, both the stand-up cost and annual maintenance costs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
approximate, yeah.
Yeah, because. it's-
Yeah, cause each project will be kinda different, and, I just think it's kinda like your dream sheet, right?
It is.
Like it's kinda something you're kind of been thinking about and, you know, I mean, I have several things, but this is one that's just kind of bubbled up for me.
Right, yeah, I think that is part of our job up here. And we should brainstorm many ideas, and we should expect some of them not to get funded.
Right, oh, yeah.
But if we don't do it in a processed way where everyone contributes, we're gonna miss our opportunity, and we're gonna haphazardly decide things,
And you know, it's interesting because, you know, this whole museum thing, I've been chasing since I was on Heritage Commission.
Uh-huh,
And so, you know, I saw what happened with the pavilion. We kept thinking, oh, maybe we could raise some money. Well, that was a joke because we couldn't raise money because we're not allowed. So we looked at potential $50,000 grant to do the pavilion. And then Lynn found the, whatever that grant was, the CARES Act money to be put into that building, which was almost $1 million. And so that was just amazing, just no different than what you just did, Jamie, with the block grant, finding that. Because we did find a $50,000 grant, I think, through the Historic Society for museum space in the state of Florida. But we all know 50,000 wasn't gonna do much, or whatever that amount we were gonna get. I think they did talk about maybe a match, but, and then the length of time, and then you found that amazing grant, which I really hope to God we get it. But, I think, if you just Google something like this that you're trying to do, it really, and just like the one you're talking about, or even one I'm talking about, could be something that falls into the block grant criteria, you know what I'm saying? Because of it being something that's gonna be in a blight kind of situation, given things for people to do, you know, that we don't have necessarily resources to provide. I don't know, you know, Ms. Fox could probably weigh in on that.
Mhm.
But unless we have a pet project plan to share, we don't know. But we should definitely do the research for grants, cause they're all over the place. And that'll help y'all too, I think, just with the reality. I mean, these are just like I call it my little Christmas list, if I'm gonna call it that. We have our day-to-day stuff, but I have just what my gut tells me, I feel, I see happening, you know, just like to me, it's like the gift of God that we bought the corner, we had the beautiful mural, beautiful lighting on the wall, now the tennis court, the basketball court, all the little pretty things. That's kind of like the things I'm after, is all the pretty stuff, but also functionality.
Infrastructure is so important,
Yeah.
but we gotta balance it. It can't be just
It
infrastructure.
can't, right. So do you want, should we just wait and, so I'm just wondering, just like on this subject, should we have a workshop and have so they know kind of what we want them to do, because you and I kind of know, we'll go and do it, because we've been talking about it. But so the other three kind of know, oh yeah, I have this I want to do, but then they need a little time to look into it further, you know what I mean, to produce a document. Should we have like a little workshop and do a brain kind of storming about it, so they each know kind of what to come back with and then share it with the crowd?
That's an option.
To, you know, like the form you're gonna fill out.
Right. I'm not sure we have enough stuff to talk about to have a whole workshop. A workshop might be 20 minutes and that's it. Is
Right.
that worth having a whole separate?
What do we
meeting?
want to just talk about it, put on the agenda for the meeting, and then they come to the July meeting with their sheet?
I think we can give
Is that
it a
fair?
shot in the June meeting.
Okay.
Because we got a little bit of time, give them a warning. I'll just send them the time clip of this discussion. I say, your homework is to watch the budget and finance committee meeting, and then, but also, I'll collaborate with Councilman Lewandowski, build a little form and send it out.
Yeah, so.
Our June meeting actually
Is it gonna be pretty long?
no, well, right now it looks like, it depends on discussion, but
Okay.
there's not too many action items right now.
Okay.
So I think it'd be a good meeting to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you a copy of this.
Mhm.
And
Anything else you think needs to be added, Jamie, to what Dan has here?
I've voiced what I thought of at this point.
Okay.
We can get that drafted up and
Yeah,
emailed
it'd be kind of fun to see what they come back with.
yes, I could tell another story, but I'm gonna stop right there. We got the idea, right? And this is a nice procedural way to be inclusive of all council members, that we can throw a lot of ideas out there. And as long as we realize that not every idea is gonna go forward in the budget,
Yeah.
then we're good. I don't want anyone's feelings hurt because their idea was not
Right.
chosen. And can I, if it's okay with you, ask the city manager to submit a couple, 3 ideas too, also?
Or even what you guys think, Bo.
You know, you can
Andy.
talk to your staff.
You guys know what goes on around here too, things that you'd like to see.
Don't talk about a $20 million CCUA thing. That's just a no-go. But, you know what I'm talking about.
New building.
The whole city, septic to sewer conversion.
1 year.
Right, yeah. Okay, sounds good.
All right, so with that, I would rather, it sounds like the millage discussion, if you do the budget, you're only gonna change line 311100, and the rest of it will stay the same. Is that correct?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And you have built in, and I haven't looked through everything in detail, but for those things where we expect a inflationary increase, such as healthcare, have you built in said inflationary increase?
When I built, as an example for the healthcare, I used what they're charging us right now. So it'll be accurate up until December, but no, I didn't do an increase in the healthcare. I'll take a note on that.
Okay.
So our healthcare costs will change in December. So the calculation's good for the first quarter, but then it could potentially go up, and I'll have to go and see how much we increased last year. So I didn't think about that one.
So last year's increase was massive.
Due to enrollees, not
Yeah.
inflationary costs.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
because we enrolled, our enrollment doubled, I think, or plus some. But point made, it does need to have an increase in there.
And then the one other thing in general, and you've done a really good job with this, you did this with Verizon, is looking for competitive opportunities for cost reduction. And you can't spend all your time doing that. You know, take 1 or 2 items that might give us the best benefit for your time, and look at, is there a way we can reduce some costs, like our insurance costs? Oh, that was wonderful. You know, we saved about $30,000 for that. And Verizon, that saved us another, I don't know how many thousands, 10,000, right? And so those, in my mind, are worth it.
Oh, yeah.
And perhaps there's another one or two or three, maybe not three, one or two, you know. that-
Keep looking in the hat, but the rabbits are few and far between.
Yeah.
Right, and maybe there's nothing this
They are,
year.
they are.
But if we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
look, we have a little.
I think we have to be looking for that constantly,
Right.
Councilman, but I agree, we'll keep looking at it.
Um, Yeah, until we go for the budgets, I think I'd like to wait on and I'm gonna keep this though, I'm gonna look at it in detail. And, if at our next meeting there's changes, I'd like to save you a copy at that point in time.
Yeah, this was on our email it's in our agenda packet. When you pull it up, open it up. I always detach this stuff and so I can blow it up on the computer and look at it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, we got the millage discussion. I don't have any other major topics.
Okay, so move on to audit status.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
So for audit status, two things. I always forget to do this, but Tiffany's done a great job getting us through every day. I always say it because Tiffany doesn't stand up and very often and get in front of everybody, but terrific job keeping us in line month to month. She's done a terrific job. Now, moving on to the audit status. So I think about a month ago I said that the audit firm had sent us a request for information on 32 items. I think Tiffany turned it around in about 2 weeks. That was the initial, what we thought was the main request. That is not in fact what has happened. Over the subsequent months, she's probably got, if not the same amount or more,
Correct.
information requests. She's still getting them, turning it around in a day or two. But so we have given the audit firm a vast amount of information, way more than we'd ever given in previous years. And so Tiffany's doing a terrific job. And I asked Tiffany, every time she talks with the audit firm, I ask her to ask this one question. Do they feel that we are still on track for a end of June completion of the audit? The answer we keep getting back is yes.
Okay.
So,
So
go ahead.
ours has to go with the airports as well, so who's doing Carla's doing? Alright, whoever's doing the
Yeah,
airport.
Car Rigs and Ingram is airport.
Right, and so they're almost finished, and so once they have their information, which I've been in contact with them, they'll send it to Powell and Jones, and then they'll submit it together. But they're due to be done here soon as well, the airport.
And, cause I think it's important, what kind of information have you shared so far that they're reviewing?
So the last thing is they needed 30 items of income and 30 items of like, whether it was a bill that we paid or something, but it has to be like the copy of the canceled check, copy of the invoice, and then the date that was paid. So it's a lot of information that they randomly pick out of a year. And so you have to go do your due diligence to find that information, plug it all in. So it's just time consuming. It's not hard, it's time consuming.
Yeah, sounds
And
like,
everything they've requested we have,
Yeah.
so it's not like something I can't find,
yeah,
it's just time consuming.
yeah. There must be a, method to the madness.
There is.
It's trying to find something that you would have thought maybe you shouldn't have kept or,
Well, too,
You
they
know,
wanna see
just-
like variance, like what our totals were at the end of last fiscal year to the previous fiscal year. So they wanna see like the variance, and then if there is like a variance, why?
yeah.
So, they're just, they're doing their job.
Yeah,
It's
they're just looking
time
to find
consuming.
things, yeah. I hate that it's so much work for you, but, I think that gives all of us confidence, to know that we're good
Mhm.
and transparent and, hey guys, this is what it is, So, I know when I interviewed with the gentleman, he asked you all these questions, that makes you feel like, why are you asking me all these questions, I was just
Yeah.
honest with him, I said, look, we have nothing to hide, you can look at whatever you need to look at, we're good.
Yeah,
So, I'm sure it just takes one bad player anywhere in the state, to create that one issue for everybody else, right?
right,
And it's just that they are just trying to ensure that everything is what it should be.
right.
So, it's okay.
Yeah. Dave's on.
If I need to come help you, let me know.
I'm good right now.
I would think mine would be great. It's like, oh my God.
I'm with you, Mayor.
It's a
I
lot.
was on a parish council once and our bookkeeper stole money from the church,
Yeah,
$10,000. And so,
it happens.
it just
I mean,
takes one
It's
person.
unfortunate, yeah, it does
Yes.
happen.
So-
And,
but we're lucky, we don't have.
we
that
had
problem.
really, in our past, even well before I ever came here, have had people that really looked after the funds in the city. I mean, they did the best they knew how to do.
Right.
So I think we're in a good spot there. We can only go up.
We're better already from having the audit, even though it's
Oh,
tough.
yeah, yeah.
We've made some simple changes,
Yeah.
just as an example, when we're taking cash here at the front desk for whatever, it's not like there's much, to be
Yeah.
clear. Making sure there's an extra back check in the system when it goes to the back office, when it gets deposited, does the deposit ticket match up
Yeah.
with what the count was when it left, just some simple things to
Right.
just put a little more rigor in the system. Back checks on our labor hours,
Mhm.
you know, what did we say we needed to be put in the system? And then after labor comes in and we get the report out for what we paid out, we're going back checking to make sure everything lines up, so.
Well, I mean, I want to add, I think staff retention adds a lot to it. The consistency of staffing, doing the roles, the different roles, I think it means a lot because you have different people doing different things all the time. It's just not intentional, it's just an opportunity for something to not be done the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially in
so-
QuickBooks. There's
Yes,
too many
yes.
hands in QuickBooks.
Just because you know how to do QuickBooks, it's, yeah. Anybody, you
I'm
got
still
multiple
learning.
people playing around with numbers, it can get really complicated.
Now, I was gonna joke, along with all the audit work she's doing, she has to see, when you look at that document that is all the printouts of all the transactions that happened in the month
Uh-huh.
amongst all 4 accounts, Tiffany's gotta see my version with my notes and questions and her eyes roll back in her head.
Sometimes I'm like, oh.
No, there's less and less every month,
There is.
but it does get back to
Thankfully.
kind of just cleaning things up and just making sure we're, you know, as we're communicating, we're documenting the right funds. Are we charging the right account for that action?
That's what
Because,
you're the CEO.
you know, when Bo goes and buys wood, sometimes it could be for an FDOT project, sometimes it could be for Parks and Recs, and it's easy to get those lines crossed. The expenditure was right, but did it get in the right account? So we're constantly working on it.
Well, I'm proud of all of you. I mean, it's a lot with everything else that goes on. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so, so you had anything more to say about the audit?
No, I think simply, to summarize the 20-minute discussion, we're in good shape.
Okay. That's a good thing to know. All right, next is, long-term financial discussions. Hit that on.
I think we've done
did?
that. I think,
Okay.
and just to rehash, just looking at what's gonna come in the future from the state, but also in this is, we talk about CIP is in here, capital improvement plan. Councilman, that is one of our strategic plan actions that I have not got after yet, but as a part of doing this budget build, I'll get a running document, because effectively, I know what we're talking about with all the city council members is broader than just infrastructure. It's the same process of looking at what do we need in the next couple of years, and building it into the capital improvement plan or project plan to make sure that it all lines up and we fund it correctly. So I suspect that when we come back in June, you'll see my first cut at the 3-year capital improvement plan. So I've been telling myself we'd had that done, but I haven't had it done yet. So now I've spoken in a meeting, I'm putting a line in the sand to be ready. But that's all I have on that, Mayor.
Okay.
I'm-
So, you want to try to move the June 23rd meeting to a different time because of that legislative
Oh,
wrap-up?
thank you for the reminder. So legislative wrap-up session with the Clay County Chamber of Commerce usually starts, well, I mean, it's a luncheon, and so we start here at 10 o'clock. That puts us hard pressed to get up to Orange Park for that meeting. So I would recommend that if available, we move this meeting to a 9 o'clock start on that day instead of a 10 o'clock.
Okay,
On the 23rd.
so work for you, Dan?
Yeah, that would be great.
Are we done?
Yes, ma'am, I think we are.
Did you have something else, Gavin?
I just want to make another generic comment, and we may not get there, but in my idea of a perfect world, and I think you're familiar with this because of your military background, the federal government has different colors of money. 3400 money is all-in money, and 3080 money is acquisition money. The military construction money is authorized for 5 years because of the time needed to complete many construction projects. And I like that 5-year time span as a way to plan for bigger projects. And our task really is to make sure we've got a good budget for next year. And we go through this every year. That's what we really need to do. But if we were to up our game, if we were to really get good at this, I would look for a 5-year plan too. And that would even help us look for grant money, look for legislative support and legislation with our representative and senator, support our strategic plan even more, and make decisions about where money's going to go too to help us, especially in our infrastructure budget. That's where it would apply the most. And maybe even just start with that budget, no other budget, and say, okay, our plan is 4 years from now we're going to start construction on a new city hall. We're going to use the next 3 years to get ready for it. Where are we going to have it? What are the plans going to look like? How much do we have to spend for planning for it? Is it going to be just a city hall, or are we going to combine other functions with it? But if we don't have that 5-year plan, then again, it's hard for us to do the really big projects. So that's my last comment before we close for today. And I'll throw that out there, see if it sticks to the wall, or maybe it falls to the ground.
Even some of these things that we're talking about for the deal with the council identifying projects could play into that 5-year picture.
It could, definitely.
And just
Yeah.
gives you time to look at the resources, just like, I mean, say just found Ms. Fox and she said we need to reapply for next year right away.
Yeah.
So,
So
I'd like to find a couple
museum-
more then.
Museum would be a good
Correct.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that would be good.
yeah, I don't disagree with that. It's a good idea. Anything else?
No, ma'am. Thank
I
you.
just want to say, I love talking about Milcon.
You know, talking about
Military construction, the military
As an
construction.
engineer, he's my engineer, yes, yes,